Isabella was 35 when destiny delivered its cruelest blow. After 7 exhausting years of marriage and endless heartbreaking attempts to conceive, her husband vanished without warning, leaving only a crumpled note on their breakfast counter. "I can't pretend anymore. Forgive me." And with those words, he erased himself from her world. No explanation, no final embrace, just devastating silence where promises once lived. She clutched that note until her fingers went numb, willing the words to transform. They remained unchanged, and so did the suffocating emptiness that consumed her days. Isabella wrestled with humiliation, grief, and the agonizing weight of shattered dreams dissolving like morning mist. Motherhood had been her deepest yearning. Now she stood alone, barren, abandoned, and drowning in uncertainty. Who was she beyond his shadow, beyond the family that never came? But Isabella possessed an unbreakable spirit that refused to surrender to despair. Then fate intervened during her volunteer shift at a children's shelter. She encountered 5 brothers who would rewrite her entire existence. They stood huddled together, all under 10, wearing ill-fitting clothes and carrying eyes heavy with unspoken questions. Their parents had perished in a devastating house fire, leaving them orphaned and rejected. Extended family members had turned away, unwilling to shoulder the responsibility of raising 5 children simultaneously. One caseworker callously labeled them an impossible burden nobody wants. Isabella studied their faces and recognized something achingly familiar: abandonment, terror, and the particular kind of silence that follows repeated rejection. That evening, sleep eluded her completely. Their haunted expressions consumed her thoughts. She remembered her own desperate longing for children, how that beautiful dream had been brutally stolen. And here stood an opportunity. Not the fairy tale existence she once envisioned, but authentic, unvarnished love demanding her attention. Her resources were limited: a humble salary, a cramped house, and no partner to share the overwhelming responsibility. But her heart overflowed with unused love, and it demanded release. So she made her choice. One by one, she welcomed them home. First came Marcus, the oldest, reserved but intensely protective of his siblings. Then came Adrian, the contemplative observer, whose intelligent eyes missed nothing. The twins, Samuel and Sebastian, followed next. Inseparable mischief-makers whose radiant grins could illuminate the bleakest moments. Finally came little Angel, the youngest at barely 5, with impossibly soft cheeks that begged for gentle touches. The initial months brought pure chaos. Educational expenses accumulated relentlessly. Meals became sporadic, and restful nights vanished entirely. There were explosive meltdowns, shattered belongings, bloodied knees, and endless medical appointments. Adolescence struck like violent tempests. Tempers erupted, arguments escalated, and bedroom doors slammed with earth-shaking force. But within the beautiful madness, something miraculous flourished. There were magical moments when they danced beneath thunderstorms, barefoot, and laughing like untamed spirits. They harmonized together every Sunday, sacred music filling their modest living space as they shared jollof rice and exchanged stories over fragrant meals. Isabella taught them proper etiquette, sincere apologies, culinary skills, and most crucially, unconditional love. She wasn't flawless. Some days found her weeping silently in solitude, feeling overwhelmed and uncertain. But surrender never crossed her mind. Every embrace, every correction, every bedtime tale was delivered with the profound dedication only a genuine mother could provide. Gradually, the boys began flourishing remarkably. Marcus earned a university scholarship through academic excellence. Adrian launched a technology blog that attracted significant online attention. The twins established a boutique clothing brand that rapidly gained popularity. Angel, the baby, revealed extraordinary musical talents that amazed everyone. As years flowed past, they ventured into independent lives. Some even relocated internationally for career opportunities and education. But regardless of where destiny led them, they invariably returned to her embrace. Isabella's humble house remained their emotional foundation, saturated with precious memories and constant joy. She never demanded reciprocity. Witnessing their happiness provided sufficient reward. Time flowed like a gentle stream, peaceful initially, then accelerating before comprehension arrived. Isabella's hair transformed to silver. Her hands displayed the evidence of decades spent cooking, cleaning, and nurturing, but her spirit remained invincible. She observed with immense pride as her boys evolved into men of remarkable character and stature. Marcus became a distinguished engineer, renowned for his analytical mind and steady guidance. Adrian built his reputation in technology, developing applications that helped communities connect and flourish. The twins, Samuel and Sebastian, expanded their fashion empire internationally, styling celebrities and political figures worldwide. Angel, blessed with a golden voice, emerged as a musical sensation, touching souls with lyrics celebrating struggle, hope, and love. They explored distant lands and achieved remarkable success. Yet every celebration, every milestone, every family occasion brought them back to the woman who made everything possible. Isabella. She never requested anything. Not material gifts, not even expressions of gratitude. But secretly, she yearned for something beyond the tiny house that had sheltered her for 3 decades. It showed its age now. The ceiling leaked during storms, the floors groaned underfoot, and the paint had long since faded. Still, she never uttered complaints. On her 60th birthday morning, she awakened to the aroma of fresh pastries and brewing coffee. Her boys had returned, all 5 together. They filled the space with infectious laughter and playful banter, teasing each other like eternal children. She smiled warmly, observing them from her weathered wooden chair on the front porch. Life had tested her severely, but this moment embodied everything she'd ever desired. Then Marcus approached, carefully holding something concealed in pristine white fabric. "Mama," he whispered tenderly, "we have prepared something special for you." The others surrounded her, eyes sparkling with anticipation. She regarded them with confusion mixed with curiosity. Gifts were uncommon. She consistently instructed them against wasteful spending on her behalf. But this seemed extraordinary. Marcus unveiled the fabric, revealing an ornate silver key attached to a silk ribbon. Isabella stared in bewilderment. "What is this?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Adrian beamed radiantly. "It belongs to you now." Samuel and Sebastian stepped away, revealing a luxury vehicle parked beyond the entrance. Inside were photographs, stunning professional images of a magnificent new residence. Spacious, contemporary, featuring pristine white walls, expansive windows, and a garden exploding with colorful blooms. "We constructed it collaboratively," Angel explained, kneeling beside her chair. "For you, for us, for our family." Tears flooded her eyes. Words abandoned her completely. Her heart thundered frantically as if seeking escape. All those years of sacrifice, of giving without expecting returns, had culminated in this extraordinary moment. I don't understand what to say," she finally managed, her voice quivering with emotion. "You don't need to say anything," Marcus replied gently. "We simply want you to understand. We remember everything. Every sleepless night you spent worrying about educational expenses, every meal you prepared from whatever remained so we could eat properly, every hug, every discipline, every prayer. You provided everything when nobody else would. They assisted her standing, guiding her toward the waiting vehicle. As they departed from the house she had called home for countless years, she glanced back one final time, not with sorrow, but with profound gratitude. That structure contained memories, laughter, tears, growth, pain, and love. Immeasurable love. The new residence exceeded everything Isabella never realized she deserved. Her boys had constructed more than mere walls and foundation. They built with gratitude, memory, and purpose. She moved slowly, touching surfaces like they might disappear beneath her fingertips. There was an expansive kitchen where she could cook for everyone again, a generous living area where they could gather like previous times, and a garden filled with roses, her favorites. But the surprises continued unfolding. Weeks after relocating, Marcus joined her on the veranda one evening as the sky transformed to amber. "Mama," he began carefully, "we want to create something meaningful." She looked at him with growing curiosity. "We want to give you something else, something that rightfully belongs to you." Adrian emerged carrying a substantial folder, presenting it respectfully. "What is this?" she inquired. "A gift," Sebastian declared. "A promise," Samuel added. Angel smiled warmly. "From us to you." She opened the folder and froze completely. Inside were legal documents, official, signed, sealed. A trust fund established in her name, funded collectively by all 5 sons. Sufficient resources to ensure she never faced uncertainty again. Medical care, travel opportunities, even a small business if she ever desired entrepreneurship. "You did this for me," she whispered in amazement. They all nodded solemnly. "We owe you everything," Marcus stated firmly. "You gave us life when we had nothing. Now it's our responsibility to ensure you live magnificently." Tears cascaded down her cheeks. Not tears of sadness or simple joy, but of profound, unshakable fulfillment. This wasn't how her life was meant to unfold. Once she had envisioned a devoted husband, biological children, a family built from shared blood. Instead, life had delivered pain, rejection, and silence. But then came 5 little boys who needed her more desperately than anyone ever had. And through them, she discovered her true self. Months following her 60th birthday celebration, something else occurred. Unexpected, almost dreamlike. One by one, each son decided to marry. But not separately. Instead, they made a decision that astonished everyone. They planned an elaborate wedding ceremony. 5 grooms, 5 brides, one spectacular day. A celebration not merely of romantic love, but of the woman who had taught them love's true meaning. The wedding became legendary throughout the region. 5 elegant suits, 5 radiant brides, music that seemed to reach the heavens, and a front-row seat reserved exclusively for one person, Isabella. Dressed in royal purple, she sat with tears streaming and pride overwhelming her chest. The master of ceremonies didn't begin with the couples. He began with her. "Before we celebrate these 5 remarkable men, let's honor the queen who raised them single-handedly, with strength and grace." The crowd rose in unison. Applause thundered endlessly, and for the first time, Isabella heard strangers proclaim her royalty. Following the wedding, photographs circulated widely. People authored articles about her inspiring journey. Organizations contacted her with opportunities. A publisher proposed transforming her story into a book. She embraced all attention graciously, not seeking fame, but because her quiet sacrifices had finally found their voice. Now, every Sunday, she hosts elaborate lunches for her sons and their growing families. The once quiet house overflows again with children's laughter, spilled beverages, and scattered toys. Her grandchildren call her Mama Bella. Neighbors call her the Mother of Champions. And Isabella calls herself blessed. She didn't receive the life she originally prayed for. She received something infinitely greater. She didn't merely adopt 5 boys. She raised 5 kings. Isabella's journey demonstrates that every existence carries purpose, even when it feels hollow or fractured. She wasn't chosen by destiny. Yet her decision to love when others wouldn't changed everything. Without a husband, without wealth, without clear direction, she stepped into uncertainty with nothing but compassion. And that proved sufficient. Her story reminds us that worth isn't determined by society's labels. Isabella was once considered childless, unwanted, forgotten. But in the eyes of 5 boys, she became everything. A guide, a protector, a mother. Love doesn't await perfect conditions. It flourishes in chaos, during difficult days, in quiet moments of sacrifice. And what we give freely without expectation often returns in the most unexpected and beautiful ways. Family, as Isabella proved, isn't about genetics. It's about who appears, who remains, and who gives their heart completely. Her pain didn't define her. Her choices did. And in choosing love, she built a legacy far greater than anything she ever imagined. Because sometimes what the world needs most is someone brave enough to care. If this story moved your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more powerful real-life tales that inspire. Thank you very much for watching. For